Why, hello there, friends. This is Admiral Revan speaking, and I hope you're doing well. I am actually taking a bit of a break today after a lovely stream I did yesterday on the weekend, which is fantastic. And I want to say a big thanks to everyone who showed up and everything. It was a wonderful stream. And it's good to catch up with everybody. It was been a fantastic moment and catching up with everybody. I'm slowly getting the hang of it of being a community contributor for World of Warships. And honestly, it's a very interesting moment of my life, I have to say. But with that being said, though, it's been interesting with the latest news gossip in World of Warships. And I don't know where I was when I was trying to figure out where I missed this article, but most recently, a friend of mine was keeping me up to date about everything that was going on, and then I saw this announcement, and this announcement came across to me as a bit of a shock. So this is actually from Sub Octavian. Now, Sub Octavian, for those who don't know him, Sub Octavian is an executive producer of World of Warships who has been around and in the World of Warships team for a very long time. And as far as I know it, he has been around for nearly 10 years. And honestly, when I thought about it, I was very surprised when I was reading this news. So he starts off talking about, his journey. He said, like, hello, captains, it's been a quite journey from my first forum post back in November 2013. So, as you can see, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I'm just explaining it as we go. World of Warships community, you have always been a centerpiece of my work here in Wargaming, no matter the specific job I've been doing, and among all the platforms. And of course, this subreddit is a special place to me. All the biggest achievements and mistakes, the hardest lessons, and the greatest moments, and of course, the funniest memes. Yeah, I have to admit, there's a lot of good memes about Sub Octavian and the crew in Wargame, and it's very funny as hell. The hardest lessons. There's a lot of good hard lessons learned in World of Warships, that's for sure, and a lot of good moments as well. But anyway, I owe a significant part of my life and professional experience to all of you, and I'm immensely thankful for that. No less than I'm thankful for my colleagues, but 8 years is no joke. So 8 years, okay, fair enough. I was not far off for being nearly 10 years. And in pursuit of a new experience and challenges from March. So he's moving on, and as of next month. Hooray! I can hear the voices and cries, a lot of people in the background, and a lot of cheers, people throwing up pom-poms in the air and doing a victory dance. And some of them are doing like a cane dance maneuver and a few other things too. And I have to say that, yeah, I mean, like, that's cool. I mean, like, whatever floats your boat, folks. I mean, like, Sub Octavian is officially leaving the building. In R5 and as of March 2022. Anyway, so he's moving over to a different project, a Wargame. So he's moving on. So it's ironic because after the events of this summer, the following acknowledgement of mistakes, a multitude of changes in the way we operate the game. My job is as interesting as ever, and this was actually a very tough call. Still, opportunities don't ask us when to appear, and all the recent changes we have made gives us the confidence that the game, the community is on the right track. We, devs and players, will always have something to argue about, but lately we have gone extra mile in listening to each other and respecting our mutual passion to the game. I have no doubts and will keep moving in the right direction with your feedback and support. Now, I have to say, Sub Octavian strikes me as a bit of an enigma in many ways, because there are some decision making that he has made has really raised eyebrows. In fact, I mean, like, there are some things that he has said that really drives us nuts when we're actually wondering what the F is going on. Furthermore, there are things that he has made behind the scenes, which was not pretty cool. For example, last year in 2021, towards the end of the year. Unfortunately, after what happened in the most recent event, the Yukon event at Canada Day and everything, middle of last year, a lot of mistakes were made. A lot. And honestly, a lot of good people left World of Warships. And they were fed up with everything, the heartache and everything. They were getting sick and tired of the commotion and everything that was being going on. And that's probably, their own personal reasons. And I can tell that they don't want to tell anybody out there. But when people would leave Wargaming or World of Warships, they may say that, oh, it's nothing against, the company or anything like that. In truth, if you have, the way I view it is that if you leave in the company but you don't have anything against the company, that doesn't make sense at all. In other words, you're protecting yourself from being asked those questions, and that's fine. I think that's great. I think that's a good way of doing it, because you don't want that flag on your porch. I really understand that, and I agree 100%. The thing is that when I'm seeing this post right now, it strikes me that like this guy has basically finally has taken the balls by the horns and basically said, enough is enough, I'm going to step down. I accept what I've done and basically going to move on to something different and maybe better. And look, I wish you well, all the best, Sub Octavian, I really do. Because I don't envy you one bit about the position you're in, or what you had to go through, or what you had to take in order to handle this debacle about everything that happened in World of Warships for the last 8 years. I have to admit, the first 5 years of World of Warships has been fantastic, and you and your team have done a great job. However, back in the last couple years afterwards, I've seen a lot of things that went wrong terribly, and basically I saw it that World of Warships itself has become like World Tanks, has become more money hungry, greedy about getting people to buy things left, right, and center just to get ahead. And that's for a free-to-play game. It's entitlement for its own right for people out there if they wanted to. And honestly, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And it looks like that dog next door is barking like crazy. I don't know why. Anyway. So, yeah. I don't envy it one bit. But, when I looking through all these comments from fans and people who either respect the guy or don't, they come off with, different views. And, they're being realistic, or sarcastic, or praising that, they're glad that he's going. Some of them are not, But honestly, there's a lot of things, like he's taken a bit of a bullet. Like, for example, the Puerto Rico event. All right, the Puerto Rico event in World of Warships, to me back then and there, it was a great event, and basically Mighty Jingles. And sorry I mentioned your name, Mighty Jingles, but you made a very good video about it, a few years back, about in regarding to how the Puerto Rico was supposed to come out, and same with Not Sir and a few others. And you know what? Those guys are legends, and I have to say they made a lot of good feedback about it. And I think what intrigued me was this. Well, it was basically when the Puerto Rico first came out, the announcement, we were looking forward to a tier 10 warship, American cruiser, who had radar and this nice fancy camo, and a dockyard event, the first dockyard event in history in World of Warships, to be such an entertaining, aside from a grinding moment in World of Warships, the game itself, but it was done in a way that we were looking forward to it, and we have a lot of good hype and expectations for it to come out. And there was a lot of good things about the Puerto Rico that we were really looking forward to. For example, doing certain missions, like combat missions or dockyard missions to complete to get certain rewards, like, for flags or doubloons or coal or steel. And, the way we see the dockyard, it was utilizing all those resources and you gain some, rewards out of it in return, which is fantastic in my opinion. It was great. So what made me wondered was that why the hell at the last minute when Sub Octavian and his group made last decision making of suddenly saying, oh, we're gonna change it around and this is we're gonna make it a very expensive warship just to buy in the middle of Christmas. Like, seriously? And you've done the dockyard missions and everything to close to Mission Impossible moment, like, seriously, just to grind and at the time, like, a lot of people had no bloody work to begin with and were losing jobs, because of the pandemic and everything that was lead up to it, and it was a complete disaster. In a way, that's just my 2 cents. But for me, I own the Puerto Rico. I have it, but I don't show it on the stream. I'll tell you why. Short version is that I'm not very proud of such a disaster that has happened, because this is a learning curve that Wargaming has to go through. And I remembered I was one of the many people who got it, early access to it and everything, and in terms of, getting it, like forking out a credit card and buying it outright just to get it. The short version I had was I coughed up a lot of slack. It made me depressed. It made me angry because there's a lot of people that was venting so figuratively and profusely, and it's landed me in left, right, and center, and that really, shook me up a fair bit. So I'm hoping in the near future it will never happen like that again. So yeah, definitely, yeah. If you want to piss somebody off, get the Puerto Rico. I'm not joking, but he's basically mentioned here something that he's been very apologetic to this to the people, but at least he's taken a stand that he stuffed up. That he started as a community manager. With just communicating and delivering information as the biggest part of the job, and my direct influence on the game did grow over the years, which is very true. However, as such games as World of Warships are made by to run huge teams, and most of our decisions are made by teams, or at least somewhat representative circle of people, which is very true. And he's leaving as a World of Warships executive producer, which in our case means managing 2 teams, directly responsible for feedback gathering, facilitating and producing content portals, devlog, YouTube, etc., plus some additional duties like CC program and some other routine operations. Like, I'm gonna see that there's gonna be a change to the CC program in the near future. The only feedback I can give you in regarding to this sort of thing, Wargaming, World of Warships needs to have somebody in there who has some experience with the CC program. Like, for example, we have some community managers on the North American community who are now, who were community contributors for World of Warships. They knew the ins and outs of the program, and they are now community managers. And basically, they've been thrown in a position of trust. Being a community manager means a lot of duties. Being the face, the representation of the franchise and everything. But at the same time, they have a good passion to be communicating with the community and being interactive with everybody out there. They have done a great job. They have made some tough decisions and bad calls and stuff like that, of course. But, nobody's perfect. But the thing is that, like, for example, look, the previous community managers on the North American team, and I'm not putting them down in any way, shape, or form, but the trouble was that in the last 2 years, I have seen a transition between different management in the North American community. For example, when Apofada, Kavov, and Manny Morcel were around for a while, they were enjoying themselves, and they were getting along quite well and everything, and it all seemed well and good. However, the Anzac and the people in Australia and New Zealand, the content creators, there were not many of us back then, but now there is abundance. But the thing is that the content creators for Anzac was very, very hard to find, and for Asia server. And we had one person for Asia already. His name is Major Rage, and Major wasn't very well known in the community. There was not many promotions about him or anything like that. And I honestly didn't know about the guy until about like 5 years later. and that's how bad it was. But the funny thing about it was that, like if I didn't know him through iChase Gaming or different, content creators slash community contributors like Sea Raptor, Lord Zath and that, I wouldn't have known Major Age. Then we saw Dobby Mate. Dobby Mate has joined the CC program, and he's a great bloke all around. I think he's awesome. I really do. And the funny thing about it all was that, they've been through a lot of changes since then with the CC program, and there was a bit of a problem back in 2021, unfortunately. As you know, what happened with Little White Mouse and the fiasco that happened about the Yukon event for Canada Day, because it was a special event for the Yukon Warship, and it was supposed to have a specific camo, some rewards and stuff. It wasn't 100% agreed on by Octavian and some other wargaming stuff involved, but the problem was that there was a mutual disagreement, and basically that the content creators slash community contributors that were working on the project and others who was very supportive of it went off and discussed and just shoot through and left the program. And then there was a bit of a revolt, and there were a bunch of people left over, and those content creators slash community contributors were getting coughed the flag. Now, for me, I was working on the community contributor program for World of Warships for so long, and I was really hesitant to apply for a community contributor program because of that issue. And pretty much I just wait and see. And honestly, getting off a little bit of tangent here, but as I look back with the new community managers that have joined the North American team after Hapafada, Kavov, and Manny Morcel left, Mario Draco, he wasn't a community contributor, but he has been around in terms of behind the scenes for World of Warships in different ways. And when he was first brought on board as a community manager for the South American Brazilian community, and that's fantastic. He's done a fantastic job to get to where he is today. And he's still learning the curve on bits and pieces about it all. So, great job, Mario Draco. And Bogsy and Ashcans, two very good community contributors that I've known for such a short time. I think they have what it takes to be a community manager, and ever since they become a community manager, they're still learning the ropes. They've still got a lot of things to get through, and I think they will be great, for what they want to do. And at least we have people who have some experience with the CC program, so that's starting to, amend, heal things, heal its wounds a little bit, so that's a good starting point. But the problem is, though, with World of Warships, is that not all decisions in the upper management are going to be agreed upon. And that's the problem that I find with, Sub Octavian, for example. Now, Sub Octavian may say one thing and then contradict it with another, but at the end of the day, he made tough calls decisions which are both right and wrong. So he has taken the bullet in this case, because that he admitted, you know, things have stuffed up. So even though I'm off the tangent by ranting here about getting away from what has been written here, but this is, you know, like pretty much a summary and paraphrasing that he has taken ownership of what has happened, and basically he's taken the bullet and accept the responsibility that he stuffed up. And he and his team stuffed up, so wants to step aside and move on to something better. And that's fine. I mean, like, I wish you all the best of Octavian, I really do. Because, like, I'm looking at, you know, the key aspects. Like, say, for example, the CV rework. There was a lot of pro and cons about that one. Don't get me started. I mean, like, the CV rework was, like, you know, both, you know, good and bad. Same with submarines. You know, like that meme that they had in World of Warships. There will be no submarines in the game. Well, too late now. So, yeah. Just like this video here. Okay, so anyways, since that's you know, like a bit of a, you know, pro and con with everything that's happened, where does this lead to the next part of the chapter for World of Warships? Well, in all seriousness, I mean, like, you know, it may be Octavian's fault for some things and other things, but you know, he, as he said, hey, don't blame me for all the stat stuff. That's generally not my call. That's not the way producing works. So it's true, yeah. But you know, he's learned a lot, and I hope for the best. I really do for him. But you know, like at the end of the day, nobody's perfect, and I think he's done the right thing by stepping aside. I really do. So I think my general reaction to this is that when I first read his post and everything, I think Octavian really did the right call behind this. He had to make the right call that he really stuffed up, and yeah, it's, you know, like ever since like the introduction for new, you know, super warships to CV submarine rework to the CC program, you know, need to be revitalized and revised and checked on. There's also certain decision making about the game direction and everything. The one thing that's carrying World of Warships pretty well at the moment is the art department, and that is actually the graphics in the game itself, and the maps has been redone and looks fantastic. Another thing that I can mention as well is that the marketing department has done a fantastic job too. For example, giving us access to download or play the music for World of Warships and have fun and enjoy. You know, playing that music while we're streaming and having fun too, or listening on the car, radio, anything like that. It's actually fantastic, you know. People are mostly working from home these days, most of us anyway, despite of what's been thrown at us with the pandemic. But even if it's not the case, I mean, like, you still have the option to stay in touch with it. For a free-to-play game for World of Warships, I really hope that in moving forward in World of Warships that we will do better in moving forward from this. I really do, because the game itself needs to improve. Now, as you know, I have been most recently appointed on the CC program for the Community Contributor program for World of Warships, and I can't talk much about it, but I can tell you this much. I am hoping for the best, and that is the main thing. I really am. But in terms of the general game, the direction and everything, I'm really focused on the company, what they're going to be doing. Because they are making the shots, the calls and that sort of thing. If we're me to say who should we put in that position of power, in that sense, I would appoint somebody who has the experience of the Community Contributor program for World of Warships, and also who has a better experience with the player base. Because honestly, we really need better leadership and put things in the right direction. It may not happen overnight, but it will happen in due course. Tell me what your thoughts, friends. I mean, like, it's I'm sorry I'm ranting on about this a bit, but you know, Octavian, whether you like him or not, I think he was okay. But you know, some decisions had to be made, and mistakes were made. So time to learn on from it. So, Octavian, if you do listen to this video, we thank you for what you've done, and we wish you all the best. And take care and stay safe. Have a good one, captains.